Good morning, grade 6. How are you today? I hope you are all doing well. This is teacher Rana with you again, and today we will continue our previous lesson. And today we will talk about second conditional clauses. So, if you remember, we talked previously about conditional clauses, and I told you that we have four main types. We have zero condition, and we have conditional clauses type 1, and conditional clauses type 2, and type 3. Of course, each one of these types has different rule, different usage, and different meaning. So let me start first with the meaning of a conditional clause. What is a conditional clause? A conditional clause is known as the if clause, so you can call it if clause. So conditional clause equals if clause, okay, and they are used to express that the action in the main clause can only take place if a certain condition is fulfilled. What is the meaning of this? Basically, in any conditional clause, we have two parts. One part is the condition, and the other part is the result of the condition. And now you will see from the examples which part is the conditional one and which part is the result of the condition. So let me start with the zero clause or zero condition. What is a zero condition? In this case, we are talking about scientific facts only, and in any scientific fact we cannot change the fact. That's why we call it zero condition. Now here we have two examples. Number one, if water boils, it evaporates. If water freezes, it turns into ice. Okay, so if you notice here in the first part with F, this is the condition, and the second part is the result of the condition. Now in this clause we don't have will with the simple present verb, with the infinitive verb. Why we use will with the infinitive verb? To express something about the future. But here in the scientific facts, we don't have something to expect or to predict because they are fixed. So in this condition, we have zero prediction. Why? Because it is fixed. So if water freezes, this part is the condition, and the second part, it turns into ice, is the result. So basically the rule is if plus subject plus the simple present verb. This is for the first part. For the results part, you have to write the subject, simple present verb, and of course the complement of the sentence. Now let me go to type 1. In type 1, we use it to express something that might happen, okay, under one condition. If the condition of the action will be fulfilled. Now let me start explaining the examples here. If I find her address, I will send her an invitation. If I work hard, I will fulfill my goals in life. So the first part with F, this is the condition. The second part with will, this is the result of the condition. Now notice here in the first part we used F plus the subject, and the verb here should be simple present. Okay, in the second part we use of course the subject, and the subject is followed with will plus the infinitive verb or the base form of the verb. Now here you have to keep in mind that I didn't add s to the verb work because I is a plural pronoun. But in case you change the pronoun and you use he, she, or it, you have to add s to the simple present verb. Then Type 2, I skipped type 2. I'll talk about it later, but now I will talk about type 3. In type 3 here, it is impossible, something impossible to happen. Why? Because the main action have already happened in the past time, so we cannot change it. It is like an impossible wish. So let me read the example for you. If I had found her address, I would have sent her an invitation. If I had studied well, I would have passed the test. In the second example here, if I had studied well, I would have passed the test. So the meaning of this sentence is that I didn't pass the test. My mark was 0. That's why I said this sentence. So again, the first part is the condition with F. The second part is the result. So the rule is you have in this type to use had, and of course everybody knows that after had and also have and has, we have to use the past participle form of the verb, or what we call verb 3. So again, you have to use F plus had plus past participle verb. This is in the condition. In the result, you have to use the subject plus would have plus the past participle verb, because after have we need to write verb 3. And now let me talk about type 2. In type 2 here, the action, or it is possible but very unlikely that the condition will be fulfilled, and it could happen if the condition will be fulfilled. Now look at the first example here. If I found her address, I would send her an invitation. Okay, that means I didn't find her I don't find her address, not I didn't, I don't find her address, so I will not send her an invitation. So again, if I found her address, this is the condition, I would send her an invitation, this is the result. If it rained heavily, I wouldn't go out. Now here, let me remind you, if you want to use not and any one of these parts, you have to be careful to the meaning of the sentence. So the using of not here depends on the meaning, and you can imagine the situation as well to decide whether to use not or whether to use it or not. So the rule is in type 2, you have to use F plus the subject, then use the simple past verb. This is for the first part. For the second part, you have to use subject plus would, and after would you have to write an infinitive verb, which is the base form, or the base verb, or the basic form of the verb. Okay, remember, after modals, after will, would, can, could, may, might, or must, you have to use what? You have to use the infinitive verb. Now, I give you here some examples in case we need to use, for example, not. If I didn't have any homework, I could go to the party. Now, not was used in the condition, so I couldn't use it in the result. Maybe in other cases, I can use it in both parts. So it depends on the sentence, it depends on the meaning and the situation as well. Look at the first example here in the blue picture. I would be living in London if it wasn't so expensive. Now the parts are changed or switched. So you can start with the result and then write the condition, or you can start with the condition and then write the result. So I would be living. Why here living is used? Because after be we have to use ing to the verb. If you add something else like ed, if you use the past participle form after be, you will be in trouble. So in this case, if you are going to use be after would, you have to add ing. To be in safe, no need to use be. I can make it into in another way for you. I would be in London if it wasn't so expensive, or I would live in London if it wasn't so expensive. So the three options are all correct. The second one, if I was rich, I would travel the world. Okay, and if you notice, type 2 is like a wish, and this wish could happen, it might happen. So if I was rich, here the simple past form of be is was. Okay, if I was rich, I would travel the world, or you can say I would travel the world if I was rich. Both are correct. If you were a banker, I would totally save you. Here the same, the simple past form of be is were, okay, and were is used with you, whereas I used was with I. So please take care on this point. Now here in the last section of my presentation, I gave you the general or the basic form of, or the basic rule of the second conditional clause. You have to use if plus simple past verbs. This is for the second part, and if you need to use any form of be, you have to use the form of was and were. For the second part, you have to use the present conditional, which would or wouldn't, in case you need to add not, plus the infinitive verb. The meaning of type 2 is an imaginary situations in the present or the future. Okay, now here you have more examples, and that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I want you to go to page 101 in your activity books and do question 4. So this is your homework for today, and inshallah I will send you a worksheet to do it for the second conditional clauses. Cannot wait to see you again in another period. Please stay safe, and assalamu alaikum.